Te tapahi haere I te poi. Using a sharp pair of scissors, start cutting the foam cube into a round shape, starting with each corner and then making your way around slowly to the different sides and faces of the cube. Ke tūpato rā, this video is sped up a little just so you can see the round shape forming. It is advised that you take your time cutting, as it is easier to cut away what is there than to replace what's not there. It is okay that the square foam isn't a perfect round shape, as the plastic, when placed over, will help form a more round ball shape for the poi. Repeat this for both cubes. Now with the scissors, make an incision. It's important that this incision isn't too deep and isn't too wide. Repeat on the second cube. Once you have done this for both poi cubes, place both of them to the side, ready for the next step. As you can see, the incisions aren't too deep or wide. With one end of each cord, make 2 knots, one on top of the other, ensuring these are nice and tight. These will act as anchors that will be inserted into the slit you have made in the poi foam cube. With the other end of the cord, take the tip of a pen or an instrument alike and start teasing the cord apart. You will see the fibers of the cord separate, and in this case, this cord has a paper mesh ribbing. Use your fingers to separate as needed, as you can see in the video. Then, with the mesh rib, split it using the pen. The end result should be evenly split, and this is what we will use to tie the pom-poms on with. You should have enough wool in your pack to remove 6 strands from the bundles of wool for tying later. With the split cord, place one bundle of wool over the center of the cord, lifting it up, ensuring that the wool is of equal lengths on both sides. Now we just twist the cords to make it a little easier to tie the first knot, ensuring that this first knot lands in the center of the wool and is nice and tight. We repeat this with the second knot. And then we just take the time to hold the bundle of wool in between your hands to ensure that it's evenly distributed around the cord in the middle. Taking your first 3 strands of wool, pull the wool bundle through your hands like so, grab your 3 strands of wool, wrap it tightly around the tip of the bundle. What should come out is something that looks like a little button. Now it's okay here that we capture some of the white cord. This here is a little trick that helps the pom-pom stay intact when in use. Again, we just take a little time to ensure that this is nice and tight and that the button here is nice and secure. Again, making sure it's all even. With our second set of 3 strands of wool, we grab the cord and flip over the bundle of wool like so, and then we start to just brush it a little. This takes some time, and it's important that we take our time here to ensure that the wool is evenly distributed around the ball that you have just formed, which I referred to as a button. Now, using the ties, we wrap nice and tight just under the button we have created. And then we make our first initial knot. And just a second one to make sure. And there we have our pom-pom that has been locked underneath and evenly distributed at the top. Repeat this for the second pair. On one end are our near completed pom-poms, but in this part we are focusing on the other end where we made 2 knots. We now insert this end with the 2 knots into the slit we made into the poi foam ball. As you can see, I'm just taking my time, pushing that through, making sure it's secure. The idea here is not to rip or widen the slit we have made, so that the knot is securely anchored into the poi foam ball. Repeat for the second poi foam ball. Moving on to wrapping the poi ball. The one plastic bag you have been given in your pack will be enough to cover both poi. As you can see, I've placed one poi ball at the corner of the plastic bag, ensuring that there is enough to wrap right around to the bottom of the poi. This part takes a bit of time, and earlier I spoke about the poi cube not having to be a perfect circle, as the plastic, when it is pulled and tugged on, and when it is tight, it will complete more of the round look you are going for. Now you have 6 white ties in your pack. Use 3, as you can see, to wrap right around the poi ball right at the bottom, immediately at the bottom, like you can see, and tie 2 knots. This is your first step into securing the plastic wrap to the poi ball. The next part is that you pull the cord to the side. It's important you know where the cord is, because we are going to cut away the excess plastic wrapping, as you can see. We repeat this with the second pair of poi. Now that your poi have initially been wrapped and tied down with wool, using some pieces of sellotape, I like to start with short pieces just so it's easier to control. We wrap around the stem, the end of the plastic where the wool has been tied down, ensuring that the first piece of sellotape is nice and tight. This may require 2, 3, or even 4 pieces of sellotape to get the desired tightness and effect. What will happen here is the sellotape will also help the poi get its round shape that we're looking for. What's important is that when we are using the sellotape, we try to get this as tight as possible so that that part of the poi isn't bulky and it won't hurt our fingers when we are using the poi. Again, repeat this with your second poi, ensuring that everything is captured, the wool and plastic, and it's all nice and tight. As you can see, we now pull the cord away as we are trimming the excess wrapping around the bottom of the poi. It's important that we take our time here and that we can see exactly what we are wanting to trim away so we don't cut the cord of the poi. It is advised that we don't cut this part too short, as we need the sellotape to keep the plastic secure on the poi ball. Here we are very near the end of this process. Grabbing both poi, putting the pom-poms in one hand, start to trim away the excess wool. For this length of poi, we should be able to get 7 to 8 centimeters of pom-pom from the bottom of the button created in the pom-pom. It is advised here that you take your time trimming the wool, as we can always cut what is there, but we cannot replace what we have cut. As you go through, look around, brush through, give the pom-poms a bit of a flick to ensure that all the strands are of equal length. Holding both pom-pom together and brushing through, like you can see, there are some single strands that are just a bit longer than the others. Take your time here to trim so it's all equal. This here is one last trick. Using a sharp pin or needle, grab the poi ball where it's closest to the bottom and poke maybe 3 or 4 holes into the plastic wrapping. This will ensure the poi won't pop in contact when you are using it. Now it is your turn to test your poi. Karawhiua.